I'd like to give you all a very special welcome tonight. I think this is our sixth night. And it's been wonderful coming every evening and sharing some very important information with each one of you. So I'd like to give you all a very special welcome this evening, for those of you that are here, and for those of you who are out there listening at the different downlink sites. We give you as well a very, very big welcome. Our topic for this evening is diabetes. So let's focus on diabetes just for a little while, and I hope as a result of this, you will be able to learn something from this presentation. Let me begin by saying, just very briefly, that our health primarily depends on what we put into our bodies and what we do with our bodies. There's other things that you can think about, but I think these are the two primary things. And when you think of it, these two things comprises of an interesting situation, a word which we call lifestyle. How you live, what you put into the body, how much exercise you do, what sort of work you do, what you do to the body. That's what we often refer to as lifestyle. And so it's so important to think about it in that context, I think. So let's begin by asking a question. What is diabetes? Just very briefly, it is a disorder of blood sugar control inside the body. Control, regulation. You see, blood sugar must be kept at a very narrow normal. It must not go too high. It must neither go too low. If it goes too low, you are sick. If it goes too high, you're sick. And so it has to be kept at a normal level all the time. That's very important. It's the same with many other things as well, many other important chemicals in the body. Too much sugar in the blood can destroy the body. And so it's very important that we understand that. In actual fact, sugar or diabetes is more than just a problem relating to sugar control or regulation. I'd like you to know and understand that there is a very strong relationship between sugar control and fats control inside the body. When the control of these two things is not in proper shape inside the body, you can have big problems. And it's these two things that give rise to the problem of diabetes. Uncontrolled sugar level, too much fat inside the body creates the situation that we normally refer to as diabetes. Now, this is very important information for you. The normal blood sugar level, all right, in any normal human being should be only between 3 to what? 6.1. Anything below 3, you're becoming dizzy, sweaty, you want to fall down. There's too low sugar in the blood. Anything above 6.1, you're feeling very well. There's nothing wrong. But you don't know that it's above 6.1 and it's creating some problems inside that you don't realize. So 6.2, 6.3, fasting sugar level is already in the premise of diabetes. Do you understand that? That's very, very important to know. Okay, now, so where does sugar come from? I don't need to tell you this. Sugar comes from all the foods that we eat. Sugar, lolly water, dalo, all the carbohydrates, they are the main sources of sugar in the body. Okay, so it's very simple. Where does the sugar come from? It comes from our root crops. It comes from bread, from rice, from the carbohydrate group of foods. It also comes from sweet drinks. It also comes from cake and from ice cream. You love ice cream, man? I love ice cream. You know, if you put one apple here, one ice cream here, my eyes would be rolling, and then it would be turning to the ice cream. You know what? I have a big weakness for ice cream. Fortunately, this is not ice cream. Okay, and so that's where sugar comes from. All right. Now, what I'd like you to see here, you can see some things moving up there. When you eat the dalo, for example, the dalo goes into the stomach digests it goes into the small intestine. The small intestines work on it with so many different chemicals. It breaks the sugar down to a simple sugar that we call glucose. Glucose. Now, you see, the body needs sugar. There is nothing wrong with sugar. If you don't have sugar in the brain, you won't be thinking right, you know. You'll be going crazy. You need sugar. Okay, so sugar is very important. We're not saying here that sugar is bad. What I'm saying is too high sugar is bad for you. And so what happens is when the food is broken down, it goes into the stomach, it goes into the intestines, and from the intestines, as you can appreciate here, the sugar goes into the what? This is the blood. It gets absorbed from the intestines, and the sugar goes into the blood system, into the arteries. Okay, it floats in the arteries, and then from there, it must go to the cells of the body. Okay, we are made up of how many cells? I mentioned this, I think, 2 nights ago. We are made up of approximately 100 trillion cells. And all those cells need sugar to be able to work and survive and carry out their function to keep you alive. Okay, and so you see in this diagram here, all right, the sugar now, which is the yellow substance, the round ones, they go from the blood. See, this is the blood. They go from the blood into the cell. It could be the brain cell. It could be the liver cell. It could be the kidney cell. It could be the skin cell. It could be the hair cells. I don't have too many, but there's a few there. Okay, it could be any cell. And so the cells are able to break the sugar down and produce the energy that you need to be able to live and work and climb mountains and do everything that you'd like to do. Okay, so that's how sugar is utilized in the body. Now, I'd like you to remember this because this is very important. It's so important. Now, come with me now. Come with me and let's see something very important here. The sugar will never get into the cells without something very important that the body produces. That important chemical is produced in an organ which we call what? The pancreas. The pancreas senses the level of sugar in the bloodstream. Okay, and when there's sugar in the bloodstream, when there's a lot of sugar in the bloodstream, the pancreas releases a chemical into the blood that helps the sugar to go into the cells. If there is no chemicals being produced from here called insulin, sugar will not go into the cells to be broken down for energy. Wow. Praise God. We're just so wonderfully and fearfully made. All right. And so that's pancreas now. That is the organ that produces that special chemical called insulin that, if you like, is the key that opens the door of the cells so that sugar or glucose can go where? Inside the cell so that they can be broken down for energy. That's why when you eat, you feel what? You feel strong. When you're hungry, how do you feel? You feel tired, you feel hungry, you feel weak. Okay, and so the key is insulin. Without the work of this very important organ, you will not have insulin. the sugar will not go into the cells. So can I ask you a question? Where will the sugar build up? If there is no insulin, the sugar is in the blood. Insulin helps to open the gate, so open the door, so that sugar can go inside the cell. If there is no insulin, sugar cannot go inside the cell. And so what happens? Sugar builds up where? It builds up in the blood vessels. And that, brothers and sisters, is the beginning of the problem. Are you listening to me? Do you understand what I'm saying? When sugar does not go into the cells, because there is absence of insulin, or sometimes there is insulin, but the insulin does not do its work properly, and I'll tell you why very shortly. Sugar builds up in the blood, and what happens then is that is when the problems begin. I'd like you to know and understand that, because that is very important. And so you can appreciate here, all right, the blue triangular sort of a substance here is the insulin. Imagine it opens the gate, sugar, go in. And so the sugar goes in. Okay, that's what it does. That's the function of insulin. Okay, if there is no insulin, the blue substance, sugar builds up in the blood. It builds up in the blood. It goes very high, and it destroys the body. That's when the problem begins inside the body. Too much sugar in the blood vessels destroys the what? The blood vessels. Let me tell you something. When there is too much sugar in the blood system, the sugar becomes very toxic. It damages the blood vessels. You understand me? Okay, it destroys the blood vessels. It's like an acid, if you like. It eats away, it destroys the blood vessels. And when that happens, the organs of the body are also destroyed. All right, that's very important. So what is diabetes? Diabetes is a disease of many, many complications. Why? Because the sugar builds up in the blood. It is not being utilized by the cells. It destroys the blood vessels and therefore destroys the organs. So let's look at some of these organs. Number one, the brain. It destroys the blood vessels in the brain, and so it gives rise to stroke. It destroys the heart because it destroys the blood vessel supplying the heart that we talked about, the coronary arteries. It destroys the pancreas itself. It destroys the kidneys because it destroys the blood supply vessels in the kidneys. All right? And it destroys the extremities because sugar destroys all the blood vessels that supplies the legs. Okay? And so diabetes is a disease of complications. This is an example in the leg of this man that shows what diabetes does to the blood vessels in the leg. You can see this is a blood vessel. You can see that because of diabetes, this blood vessel has been destroyed. There's accumulation of rubbish, of fat, and all those things because the sugar has destroyed the blood vessel wall. Okay, that's the danger of diabetes, when sugar builds up too much in the blood. So how do I know that I have diabetes? Just very quickly. Number one, passing plenty of urine. You sleep in the night, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, maybe 4 times you go to the toilet to pass urine. And because you're passing urine so much, you want to what? You want to drink a lot. Okay? So people pass urine plenty. They also want to drink plenty of water. You can have blurred vision. All right? You can have skin infections. Because when you have too much sugar in the body, you know, the bacteria, the germ, they love to grow. You know what I mean? And they can cause big problems. I'll show you some examples of that. When you have a wound, it will not heal quickly because sugar promotes infection. And so the wound won't heal too well. You might have tingling sensations in the hands and in the feet. Because what happens is the blood supply to the extremities are destroyed. The nerves die. They don't work. And so there is numbness in the legs and in the feet and in the hands. so that you're walking, but you're not feeling the ground too well. Okay, and that's because the blood supply to the hands and the feet are destroyed. As I've already mentioned, there is numbness in the feet, and sometimes people lose weight because of diabetes. So suddenly you see somebody losing weight. Oh, there might be something wrong. Especially if he's not walking and if he's not cutting down on his diet and he's not doing some exercise and he's losing weight. Wait, something must be wrong here. Go to the doctor. Have a check. All right, so those are some of the symptoms, if you like, of diabetes. Sometimes people don't complain of anything. All right, but they have high blood sugar. And that is very important. All right, and so it is important that if you think you have diabetes, go and check at a clinic so that people can help you. Diabetes, sugar problem, damages the brain. It damages the heart. It damages the kidneys, and it damages the arteries. It starts with the arteries, and then it damages the organs, and finally, it eventually causes death by damage all round. It damages almost everything inside the body, brothers and sisters. It is not a good disease to have. And so it's important to understand this is a heart. This is a real heart. This is a true heart. I took a picture of this one. You can appreciate here, this is all black. So it's not very clear, but this is all black. You can see the blood vessel running here. The blood vessel has been blocked because the patient has diabetes. The blood vessel here was destroyed. He has endured a massive heart attack. Boom, dead. Okay, and there's nothing that can be done about this one. Stroke is one big problem because the blood vessel in the brain is destroyed. At the back of the eye, called the retina, because of diabetes, the blood vessels at the back of the eye are destroyed, and so people can become blind. Blindness is one of the most important complications of diabetes today. It's so important to understand that. Now, kidney disease. You remember when I showed you the statistics of how our countries in the Pacific are going? All right? All the countries, mainly, like here in Polynesia, us in Melanesia, all the diseases like, heart attack, heart disease, and that sort of thing is way up there on the top already. And diabetes is one of those big problems. Because of diabetes, what happens in the kidneys is that this is the filter that filters blood in the kidney. The kidney is a filter. And the filter is basically blood vessels. When blood comes to the kidney, the filter cleans the blood, and clean blood goes back to the body. Every time that happens. But when you have diabetes, what happens is the kidney filter is destroyed. And so blood comes, it gets cleaned a little bit, but dirty blood goes back into the body. You understand what I'm saying? And so you have some big problems here. The kidney in this situation is failing. It is not doing its work. One of the most important complications of diabetes is kidney failure. You can try doing some, dialysis. Yes, you have dialysis in Samoa. Yes, you have, but it's temporary. You would need a new kidney to be able to fix the problem, but then you still have diabetes problem. The new kidney might go as well. And so it's temporary. And so for those of you that do not have diabetes, it's so important to take note of the precautions, of the ways in which you can be able to prevent having diabetes. For those of you that have diabetes, it is very common. It is so important that you take your medicines well, you make sure you look after your diet, do some exercise, and that sort of thing, because it is just so important. Now, you can't see this too well, but if you look here, there's a maggot sitting there. This is a diabetic foot sepsis. Okay? Because the blood supply to the foot has been destroyed, the leg is now gangrenous. It is dead. There's nothing you can do about this now. All you can do to try and save this man's life is to do a below-knee amputation. Sometimes you have to do an above-knee amputation to save his life. Okay, and so you can see these are the toes here, this is the foot, it is all black, it is all gangrenous, it is dead. And so he needed to have an amputation. Look at this one. We have removed 3 of the toes. Okay, this is a very common surgery in the Pacific today. Okay, when I was head of surgery for my country, Solomon Islands, I had a ward of about 60 beds. 35 of the beds would be occupied by diabetics. And many of them have this sort of problem. And they stay in the ward for a very long time. It costs the government a lot of money to treat these people. But we've got to do something to help our people. But it's a very expensive disease, I can tell you. Now you look at this man. Okay, 3 toes out. How can he walk? Okay, he'll have 2 toes. But the weight-bearing ability of the toe now would be shifted. It will not be normal anymore. So we let him go home because he's now not walking properly. All right, he might be walking like this. He will develop another ulcer on this side of the leg, and maybe he will need eventually an amputation. So it's a much bigger problem. Just removing a toe doesn't mean anything. He might eventually need, for functionality, might need to make a below-knee amputation. And so it is just so important. Just very briefly now before I finish, what causes diabetes? If it's in the family, you can have a good chance, if you like, that you might develop it as well. But good news is that if you are careful with the way you live, the food you eat, the lifestyle you live, you can prevent having diabetes even if it's in the family. Now that's a very good news. Lifestyle, that's one of the biggest ones today. Coca-Cola. You love this? Yes. Okay, now come with me now. Let's talk sense. Okay, come. Let's look at this one. This is the small can. Small can, how many sugar? This is cubes. 1 cube equals 1 teaspoon. Okay? Look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the small can. 10 teaspoons of sugar. All right? In a small can. All right? You look at the 1 liter one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 teaspoons of sugar in a 1 liter Coca-Cola bottle. Can you take 1 teaspoon, and go to the sugar packet and take 17 like this? Can you do that? Does it taste good? They put some ingredients in it, and it makes it nice. So that you take it in, you feel good, you don't realize that you've taken in 17 teaspoons. Look at the 2 liters one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm turning my back to the camera. Sorry, folks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 and a half, almost 30 teaspoons of sugar in a 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola. That's what you're taking in. And you don't realize it. You don't realize that it's doing something to your body. Now, in one of the presentations, I'm not going to talk. I'm just going to put some sugar in a cup, and I'd like you to watch it. Okay, we're going to do that in one of the nights because I think it's so important. Okay? This is, again, not my uncle. A friend. Okay? Obesity. Remember, diabetes, it relates to problems with sugar control and fats control. Okay, very important. When a person is big, what happens is, for some reason, the insulin, the blue substance here in this artery, does not work. The key does not open the gates. Obesity is overweight. Obesity is one of the reasons for this problem, and we call this glucose or sugar what? Intolerance. You may have plenty of insulin. The pancreas is producing insulin, but because a person is a little bit big like this, the insulin does not work. And so sugar builds up, and the patient develops diabetes. Okay? This is a very important little information that you might like to think about. So watch the fats. Okay? When you go to the shop and you buy your meat, just make sure that it's, doesn't have too much fat on it. If it has too much fat, cut out the fats. Just have the lean meat. That's safe. You clear? All right, sometimes, the fat makes the meat taste good, eh? But just imagine what's happening inside. Okay? Please, I plead with you. I've seen too many people die from this disease. I've operated. I've tried to save lives. A lot of people die because of diabetes. And so I'm pleading with you. Watch the fats. Watch the cholesterol. Watch the corned beef and the sausage. They're full of fats. I'm not saying that you don't eat it, but if you eat it, maybe make one corned beef 1 year. Huh? Can you do that? Please. Can you do that? Just one corned beef 1 year. Not one corned beef 1 day. Hey. No, please don't do that because it will, or sausage, yeah? Okay. Saturated fat. It's like a trap. You can be trapped. You know the rat? He comes in. He wants to eat something. And suddenly what? The thing comes and it gets him on the neck. Remember, fats can do the same. It can give rise to diabetes, so beware. My dear brothers and sisters, the disadvantages of high fat is what? Number 1, obesity, diabetes, heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, cancer of the colon. I'll be talking about cancer tomorrow. So come along, please. Don't miss tomorrow night's program. And breast cancer. So, very important information for you to know and for you to understand. Prevention. Prevention is better than cure. So the aphorism says. All you need is to control the diet, buy 1 2-cent shoes, and go for walking. It's very inexpensive. You can do that, brothers and sisters. If I can do it, you can do it as well. A proper diet. Look at this, Samoa. You have so much good food in the market. Am I wrong? I think I'm right. I was walking down the street here. One black man walking down the street, and all the Samoans look at, who's this man walking down the street here? I came past the market, and they were calling me, hey, come buy something, come buy something. But you've got so many good things in the market. Natural foods. Samoa, make use of those. Leave you know what I mean. Make use of the foods that you grow from the garden because these protect you. I'll be talking about the importance of food, of fruits and vegetables and color. In one of my presentations, you will be amazed what fruits can do for you. Absolutely amazed what fruits can do for you. And so it's just so important. Remember the 3 keys of nutrition. Number 1 is balance. Don't overeat. All right? Make sure you have all the varieties of food. And then number 3, what's the number 3? Moderation. Do you know what the word moderation means? Pacific Island, I see the palagi, they eat the 1 plate here, a little bit here, like this, a little bit here. I see the Pacific Islander, 1 big mountain here. Okay. No. Let's change from that. We need to be moderate. Remember the message I shared with you on temperance. Oh, Lord, bless us. Help us to be temperate in all things so that we can live long, we can be happy, we can be able to share life with our loved ones. Physical activity is just so important. I don't need to talk too much about this. Who went walking 5 this morning? Put your hands up, please. Can I see a few hands now? It's too dark. I can't see. There's one there. Samoa, you have a problem. We are not walking enough. Thank you. We have some people walking. At least we're starting. Okay, drink water. Water is best liquid for you. You know something about water? Water has no calories. It is pure. It has no sugar. It has no calories. It's the liquid that God created for you right from the Garden of Eden. That's the best liquid for the human body. And so just remember that water is the best liquid for the body. Now, can I say something to you tonight? I'm coming to the end. Please don't be, I'm trying to illustrate a few things. Are you hooked? Are you like this man? Hooked by corned beef. Huh? Hooked by a high fatty diet. Hooked by ice cream. I'm not saying you don't eat ice cream. Once in a while, very good. Maybe once every 2 years, good. Hey. Huh? But are you hooked with this unhealthy diet in your life? I'd like to say to you this evening that it's time that we go to a doctor who can be able to remove that hook. And that doctor is Jesus Christ. He's the only one that can give you the will and the power to be able to get you unhooked from the addiction of food. Do you know that food is very addictive? Yes, it is. And so we need divine help. We need the power of God. Beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper. This is God talking to us. And be in health even as your soul prospereth. God wants us to be healthy. He doesn't want us to be sick. And He's given us guidelines. He's given us some good rules. Obedience, brothers and sisters, is a good thing. It will prevent you getting a lot of the problems that we've been talking about throughout this week. And I'd like to just end with this little slide that says, this is Jesus talking, knocking at the door of your heart this evening. And He's saying, whether therefore you eat. Let's all read together. You can read it on the screen. Whether therefore, 1, 2, 3. Whether therefore you eat or drink, or whatsoever you do, do all to the glory of God. Remember that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. Look after it, brothers and sisters, because God wants to use you as His representative on this earth, and He wants you to enjoy the best of health. Thank you so much, and God bless each one of you.